Hi, I'm Laurie and welcome to The Patient is Always Right. This is where myself and Derek, Ignite CEO and founder, have unfiltered real talk with guests from the aesthetics, medical, dental and wellness industries. No fluff, just the truth about building a business, facing challenges and working with patients in a fast-moving, ever-changing industry. We're bringing you the highs, the lows and everything in between. If you want honest conversations and real stories behind the success, you're in the right place. Welcome back to The Patient is Always Right, the mini-sodes, where we break down the most dramatic, hilarious, and sometimes completely unhinged clinic reviews. Today's case involves Botox, a residential building, and a doorman who apparently has an attitude problem. We have Holly back today, and she's going to give us the verdict on who is in the wrong here. Are you ready, Holly?
I am. This one sounds juicy.
It is. It really is. I think this might be my favourite. Okay, so I'm going to dive right in. It starts strong. Guys, get out of this clinic. They do the procedure in a residential building, and when you arrive, the doorman is super rude. I can't even understand. Imagine a residential building being commercial, and he always is opening the doors for the clients of this clinic. The professional who did my anti-wrinkle forehead procedure said that I didn't need to go for a second time, and that just one application of Botox would be enough. And it wasn't like that. I'm not satisfied with this result. My forehead is wrinkling and I need a touch-up. I said on the day of the procedure that I would be returning to my country. Now I'm trying to see if I can get a touch-up done here. But I went back to him and he's offering another date when I'm no longer in London. I told him that on the day I was leaving. Before he said he was busy and now he's on vacation and that he hasn't got time until the 30th since I'm leaving London next Sunday. This is all very specific. Guys, don't believe this clinic. After 1 month of the procedure, my forehead is already wrinkling a lot. In addition to being liars, I gave them the date that I would be leaving the country, so they already knew I was leaving the country. The product is very poor quality because in the short term, it's already horrible. In addition, there is no appropriate place here that I can find, and this place is a residential building anyway. Don't fall for this clinic. When I said I need a touch-up, they said that I didn't have an appointment and that they were full. After I insisted so much, they said the clinic was closed for the end of the year. They are liars. I reported their procedure on Instagram and they are not trustworthy. They blocked me. They don't want new clients to see this. Get out of here. A piece of advice.
Wow.
That was intense.
That was intense.
We have a reply.
Okay.
Thanks for taking the time to leave a review. Anti-wrinkle treatment was performed to you like any other of our patients. The grammar in these is really throwing me off. During the consultation, the clinician explained the procedure and offered advice. In most cases, no one needs a top-up. If after 2 weeks, which is how long the procedure takes to take real effect, the result is not expected, we could then review this. After 2 weeks, you contacted us saying that you need a top-up. We gladly offered the earliest date available to perform your face-to-face review of your case. So that must be the consultation. Then you said that you needed it immediately as you were leaving the country. At no point before this you mentioned to anyone you were leaving the country. We kindly explained that we were close to the holiday period, so would be closed. However, you continued to forcibly tell us on WhatsApp and calls that we had to give you a date right now and that we had to see you right now. Then you started insulting our staff and calling us several things. These are on the record. Furthermore, you started threatening our business and our staff numerous times. As a gentle reminder, we do not tolerate any kind of harassment and degradation, that's quite a big word, towards our staff and our business. The end.
Wow.
Oh, I'm like drained after reading that.
Yeah.
Whew. So,
okay, let's go back to the beginning of the review.
Okay.
Because that was quite a long, intense review.
We need to refresh ourselves on what was actually said.
The poor doorman. Why is he the villain of the story? He's just doing his job.
I know. He was the one that straight away just got all the flack.
Yeah.
And he's nothing to do with it.
What's he supposed to do? Hand them a glass of Prosecco as they walk in for an injection?
Yeah. Obviously, this is what he thought. He thought, doorman, it must have been a nice apartment, firstly.
Yeah.
Because I don't know any apartments that have a doorman.
I don't have a doorman.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like he's not giving him enough credit there. Okay, so how to even start? Let's start with the review then. So we got an understanding that he had some sort of expectation. He went for, we can tell, as a Botox treatment. Quite crazy that, first of all, he hadn't obviously been to the place before.
Right, so he hadn't had a consultation.
Well, that's what
Is
I'm
that-
gathering.
That's not normal from what I know of Botox,
No.
right?
No, you should definitely have a consultation
Okay.
before. And I would also think that's where you would set the expectation of maybe you'll need a top up, maybe you won't. But the fact that he only, like, this review is all about the doorman and the experience walking in. If you had a consultation, you would know what you're walking into and it wouldn't be a surprise that it's a residential building, right? So I feel like the clinic should have asked to have a review
Mm-hmm.
in advance, which is a consultation of his needs, what he needs. Because Botox can, as they mentioned in the review, take up to 2 weeks to settle. He obviously should have known that, but maybe he wouldn't have known that if it wasn't said before. So I think the problem here, I mean, I do think the client's slightly out of line here, but I think the problem here is the fact they didn't have a consultation. So why are consultations important? Because they set the expectation of the treatment, and also it preempts these kind of problems, right? And I think that's one of the things from this particular review. I'm just like, where has it gone wrong? Where have we lost this patient? And I would say, and this is something that we do, we actually, when we do ads as well, we advertise the consultation, not just the treatment, because it's where they can set the expectation, they can build them a treatment plan. Maybe Botox wasn't the right thing for him, but because he booked it, they're just going to do it. And they had probably no time to do anything else because Botox doesn't take that long to administer. So I feel like there was so many issues here that actually started right at the beginning before he even stepped foot in the door.
Right.
I do feel like it's one of those things where when you're there and you just booked it and you've got, you know, he had time constraints because he was going away, you just do it.
Mm-hmm.
You just book it. You just have the treatment and hope for the best. But that is on him, because I know I wouldn't go anywhere without a consultation and have Botox with anyone without knowing their credentials, what I can expect, and also downtime and all that kind of thing, which you get from your consultation. Something's gone missing there, because it's like he's booked a nail appointment. That's how that's the kind of thing. He's booked a nail appointment, he's just turned up to get his nails done because you don't need a consultation beforehand. It's mad. Like, it is mad that that's kind of his angle. But then going back to the clinic and their response, I think they were quite fair. I don't know what you think. Do you think they were fair, or do you think they could have approached it in a different way?
I think they told their version of the story. And you can tell that the client was really unhappy. And I can kind of imagine, just from reading that review, that maybe he wasn't the most pleasant person in the clinic, which is when they said that he was threatening their business, threatening their staff.
Moral of the story from my point of view is you need to do a consultation. Your consultation needs to be a key part of your experience for a client, and also for you to decide if you want to treat that client. It works both ways. Like, at the end of the day, if he was a headache when he walked in for the consultation, you might have been like, you know what, actually, I'm not going to treat him. I think you need to go somewhere else. We can't treat you here. But if so you're almost setting yourself up for failure as well by not having that in place.
Interesting. So clinicians should be putting boundaries on who they accept. And
yeah, I think clinicians don't give themselves enough power. Like, that is up to you. Like, if you feel like this is going to go wrong, not because the treatment's going to go wrong, but because of the client and the way they approach you and their sort of ideas around it and their expectations, then don't take them, and you don't need to. But when they're there in your room on your bed and you haven't done a consultation, you kind of have to do it. That's more difficult to say no at that point.
yeah,
So who would you say was in the wrong here?
I think both of them.
I think you're right.
I think the clinic, as you said, should have done a consultation, and the way that the client handled it was pretty horrendous.
It was horrendous. Like, his expectation of dropping everything and fix my face.
Yeah.
And also, like, how bad were his wrinkles that he needed this, like, now? Now, we want to hear from you. Was this clinic out of line, or was the patient the problem? Head to our Instagram poll and cast your vote. If you've ever had a crazy clinic experience, slide into our DMs and we might well feature your story next. Thanks so much. Love hearing the real stories behind the aesthetics, medical and dental industries? Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Patient Is Always Right for exclusive content. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to watch the full episodes on YouTube. Hit follow, subscribe, and stay tuned.